Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Stat Me Up for Anfield Index. The Reds just keep winning these high pressure encounters, don't they? All the Bees, Bournemouth go the way of Brentford. It's a 2-0 victory. It's a clean sheet. It's not a Nunes double this time. It's a Mo Salah double. Elite players doing elite things like Alisson, Gravenberch shining. There is so much to like. And here to join me, hammers down outside Edinburgh, is a man that lives in a place in the sun that has its own security guard, and how the other half live. How do the other half live at the moment, Barts? How are we?
We're good, mate. A bit hot, but yeah, we're all good. We're all good. Happy the Reds are playing well.
Yeah, indeed. And there was so much to like about this one. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the stats pack said. I know that Up was out last night as well, Barts. I mean, eye test, which we always talked about for me, I looked at that game and the first half felt controlled. We got a penalty, which wasn't a debate, but we controlled it. We were nicely there. The second half, it did feel like we proper rode our luck a little bit at times, or relied on the brilliance of Alisson. But I still felt we were worthy of the victory overall. I'm intrigued what your stats pack is going to tell me.
Yeah, I think top level stuff. I don't really think there is a lot of argument. I think top level stuff. I think we did deserve the win. I think Lynch said earlier to you, didn't he, on Daily Red, that he felt we did. And I think generally, yes, there's a lot of evenness in the stats, but there are also some differences, key differences. Shots on target, for example, they only had 3 and we had 7. Penalty box shots, we had 12, they had 8. That might not sound like a lot, but in the context of football, which is a low event game, low scoring game, that's quite a lot. To be 4 extra shots in the penalty box versus 8 when you're away from home. We always talk about penalty box touches, fairly even. So again, not that much different. Big chances, we had 4, they had 3, so a little bit different. One different there, which isn't a great deal. It's not good for us to concede 3 big chances, so that gives you an idea about how well Bournemouth played. And I think that's something that we tried to say under pressure last night, is that this Bournemouth team, they're a good side. I mean? They're a good side. It's not. I mean, Forest are a different kettle of fish, but they're better than Forest. I think they're better than Forest as a football team. So it's different. In terms of threat conversion, which is one of the keys we always look at, we did let them get to above 100, which isn't something we want to be doing on a regular basis. But we then clocked in just under 150, which is our pre-slump period, if you like. I mean, I say slump, the 3-game period where we drew some. So, but I suppose your key question was about the halves. And I do think, fair to say, first half, possession fairly equal. You get in about that field tilt fairly equal. But if you look at the XG, we only let them have 0.18. That's less than a big chance to score. And we wrapped up 2. So I think to go to Bournemouth, who at that time were absolutely flying, and just put a marker down and be like, no, we're top of the league, boys, and this is how you do it. And largely shut them down. I mean, our threat conversion there was 140, which is decent. Theirs was down at 24, which is an incredibly dominant performance for that first 45. Yes, second half, possession still the same. Field tilt goes back towards them, which means they spent more time in their final third, our defensive third, which is about right with the eye test. Shots on target, 1 each in this period. Penalty box shots, again, fairly even. And touches 15 to 19, so we still have more than they did. But XG wise, that's where they flip it around. So they create 1.3, and then we create 50.57. So and our threat conversion goes down to 70, so it halves, whereas theirs almost quadruples up. So there's a big change there at half time. But I think as we were chatting, for me, this game came down to a period. So this 46 to 60 is where they were utterly, I would say they were dominant. I mean, it's built to at 60-40. That's the highest they got really in the entire game, bar a little period of 90. They created a lot more so 0.7 to our 9, you know, a 0.9 that is, so that's incredibly low. So that is a period where they were really on top, really pressurising it. You know, they had 3 penalty box shots to our 0. That there then is the one where your key players step up. And for me, you know, they post shot there of 0.4, so that's a big chance. That's 2 big chances that Ali would have saved. So yeah, that's the period of time. That 15-minute after half time, we rode that a little bit, and then we flipped it back the other way and went straight out the other end and scored. And that's your nutshell, and that's your quality difference. Bournemouth played really, really well. Nothing against that. They came out second half and gave it like 15, 20 minutes really at us, turned it round. And as you say, there was a little bit of few moments here and there. But then as soon as we rolled out of that period, the next 15 is us. That's an 80-20 field tilt split. That's a penalty box shots 3-1. That's a goal 1-0. XG. We don't really flip that around too much, but yeah, there's a lot more. We do a lot more with our threat that we do have than they do. So, and that's a very key point. And actually, when you look at Monte Carlo's, we were still favourite to win, which we did. And the actual fair score is 2-1 to us at 12%. Is that Kluivert chance at 1-0?
Yeah.
Let's be good. Any of our front six score that. And that's probably your big quality difference between the two sides. Is we've got Van Dijk at the back, we've got Ali, and we've got Mo at top. And if all three of those, if everyone else is around a 6 or 7, and those three put in an 8 or a 9, you're largely going to win a game. And that's what happened for me. That's a bit frank. We could finish the show there if you want, but no, I just think that's sometimes football is very simple. You know, it's about quality of player you have in key areas, and you know, Ali was back to his best in this game. It was really good. Looking through some of the usual stuff we normally look at. I mean, the first half pass map. If I do up to this is up to the subs. That shows you what we were doing, which was effectively pass the ball to Mo Salah. And every arrow is going to Mo Salah. All right, that's what they were trying to do. Likewise, for them, they were trying to exploit the area here, their left side triangle, which is Kirkes, Semedo, and Kluivert.
Yeah,
were in this area, and they were being fed by who's 12 for them. I can't remember his name, but a good centre mid, and then they also had their centre half as well playing balls in. So they were trying to exploit the other side of the pitch, if you get me. So yeah. It's very, very interesting play. If you look at some of the passing analysis, which we covered a little bit last night, is their long passes in the first half. They were switching it a lot, but they're still trying to get into this left side. Second half, which is when they became dominant, they're literally playing into this area here, which is our right back area, into that triangle on the left hand side. Conversely, for us, we switches, moving around, which is not a bad pattern for us, to be honest with you, and progressive passes into Mo. But in the second half, we largely were just in a little bit longer. We're up to about 20% long ball rate rather than 15 in the first half. So we were into the channels and trying to play a bit more on the counter. And one final thing to look at, which is off ball. So off ball here, even more so for us, is win the ball, give it a Mo, get it in this area here, and Mo will do some magic. Whereas them, win the ball, get it in left channel here. So we both have very distinct off ball plans. And just to highlight that even more, so these are our touches that players take off the ball. So this is where Mo was operating in this area here. So we were getting the ball, trying to channel it in the first half into these areas here, and they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in that area trying to stop Mo Salah. And then conversely, because they were channeling to the left-hand side, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players trying to stop their left triangle off the ball. So it's two very, very different, or actually quite similar game plans, to be honest with you, just different ways of getting about it. And as I said, and I think we said on UP 2 weeks ago, I think we said on the show, this is going to be a game where you're going to have to match their intensity. If you match their intensity, their physicality, then eventually your quality should show through. And we did that. We set up 2 games plans to nullify each other. We matched them first half more than better. We got the lead. And then once we're in front, the stats show, I can't remember how many games it is, 150 or something. There's a lot of games that we haven't lost when going in 1-0 up at half time in the league. So, yeah, I think that we matched them physically in that first half. I mean, Szoboszlai got some stick for his, his on the ball work, should we say, but off the ball was just, it was absolutely monstrous. I mean, if we look at his on the ball areas, if I can get down that far, we go. So Dom's area here is the burgundy. Sorry for those who are colourblind, but Dom is in just a huge area. So he's almost sat, not quite next to Grav, but he was, because Grav was pulled over to the right to help out with Kirkes and Semedo double teaming Trent. Dom would sit in a bit more in the 6 area. And what that meant was then that he the ball off the ball, he'd then play the ball forward, and then he'd go and chase his own pass and join in a bigger third man run. So the work that he was doing for the team was phenomenal. Mac probably didn't have one of his better games. Should be honest. I think he was okay, but I think he was positionally here. He's got a large area to cover, which is never great for Mac. And then off the ball, we did something weird with him off the ball, if I remember. Yeah, so Mac's off the ball area is here. So he's almost trying to stop at source that switch into here, which you could say was effective or not, but the number of crossfield passes would probably suggest that Mac wasn't having the greatest game. So that, I think 2 game plans executed, but when push comes to shove in those critical areas, which is the penalty box, we converted, we created more shots in their penalty box, and then we've got a man who's absolute genius at finishing. I mean, not the winning goal is not even half chance. It's like touch, and then just bends it into the far corner. I mean, the poor lad Kirk has had a good game, but I think he sort of stood there going, right, corner, you're going to take me on, and then he's bent it past him. So yeah, it's one of those, but that's why we're top of the league. To be frank, that's why we're top of the league. We make it count in the period we're on top. And Bournemouth are a very good side, but they're still learning to put those elements, trying to capitalise on periods of dominance. If we have 15 minutes that build to 80-20, you'd expect us to score. It shouldn't be a question. Whereas Bournemouth still in that time, can they convert that into a chance? Can they convert that into goals? If they get there, they'll go from being a very good side to being, where they should be, which is higher up in the league, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's almost, now you say it does ring true, the story of the game. They are good. They are a physical team. You shouldn't underestimate Bournemouth at all. They went left. You saw it, as you said, Kirkes, Semenyo. In fact, Grav was helping Trent out. He probably struggled a bit in this game. You needed Grav to be at his best, really, to help them out. On our side, we went down the right. As you said, there's no 2 ways about it. The plan was to get the ball to Mo Salah as often as possible. And by the way, you're right. It wasn't even a half chance, that goal. He is just the difference. We needed our elite players to be the difference, and he was it. What do the stats say for Mo Salah?
I'm just highlighting there his goal, because sometimes it's difficult when you're watching it in the game to sort of really appreciate where he took the shot from, right? If you look at that angle there, incredible. So the size of the dot on these plots is the XG of that chance. So that is a 5% chance he took on, right? He then ended up with a post shot of 0.72. So he added over 60% to that, or more than that, but 60 percentage points to that chance. It was just an absolutely phenomenal effort. I mean, the penalty's penalty, but I mean, just saying that's just unbelievable. I mean, and there is another angle. That's the Kluivert miss, which is a 0.48 chance, a big chance, and obviously he get on target, so it didn't go. But so that just gives you an idea. It's that far out on that angle, and he puts it in that corner. It was absolutely just out of this world. A bit like he used to do. Do you remember the Everton game in the snow at Anfield, where he picks it up and just bends it in the far corner? It reminded me a lot of that. That was a great goal. But yeah, just to pick out his stats, I will go back. Like their centre half, I have to say, I know it's not TMM, but if someone's not looking at him for the summer, I would be disappointed. That's an 80% pass rate for, is it Hussein? 10 long balls, which were successful. Receiving at 70%. You know, there's some good stats there. And Kirkaz, the game was involved in 8% of their threat conversion. Threat creation, sorry, is the same as the centre half at Hussein. So both very good performers down that side. But to answer your original question, Mo Salah. So Mo Salah had 7.4% of our on-ball time. He had 9% of our possession, which isn't a lot, to be honest with you. But he had 0.88 XG. Most that's the penalty. 2 goals. A threat of 0.32, which is, let's have a quick scan, probably second highest in the team. 81% pass rate, which we know for his position is often lower. So that's really good for him. He was looking after the ball, wasn't losing it, because he was aware that the counter down that left side was extremely dangerous. So he was looking after it. And 94% receiving, so again, got it in, looked after it, and then only gave it away another 20% on top of that. And he created third highest EPV. Robbo won the EPV, but that's because of the clip ball in for the penalty. So he clips it into Cody. So Robbo got most of his threat from that. Robbo didn't have a bad game. Please don't say that, but I'm just saying that's just to explain. That's a 3-ball over the top. So got that. And Dom, as I said, he was firing it in. So the progressive passes were high for Dom, and he was becoming pretty good. So yeah, I think Mo, 10 progressive passes for Mo when he's also playing. Like you got to remember, Mo normally receives a progressive pass, not makes them. So for 10 progressive passes, it's just ridiculous, to be honest with you. I think penalties. I love the next one. He's got touches. But yeah, penalty box touches for him is 11, which is just is really good for him. What he does with it, his dual rate was 45% as well, which is really high for a forward. It carries 43%. So that showed you he was passing and carrying the ball. So he was doing both sides. A number of times we've seen on TMM when we come back to it is that a player generally does one or the other, right? Mo's doing both in this game to great effect. So yeah, I don't really have an argument this week for him not to be man of the match. I mean, just look at the metrics I pick out. Yeah, he's above the metrics in all of them, bar the aerials. Which, to be fair to the lad, he's not going to win many aerials, is he? So yes, 6 out of 7 metrics, he outperformed the players in his own position. So that was brilliant. Just because I know people were talking about it, Semedo also performed quite well for them, outperforming. He got the most shots for them. He actually does well for aerials because he's a tall lad and physically good, and then he outperformed on some of the other metrics as well. So not too dissimilar profile, but Mo just takes it up another level, if you know what I mean. So the shape is similar, but Mo takes up. But yeah, Mo Salah, normally we try and pick out somebody else, right? But I mean, Canate had a good game, obviously. Trent generally had a good game, had a fairly okay game before he got injured. And Dom, that's a pretty decent whack and wheel. And a shout out CJ's cameo coming off the bench. Incredibly useful. So one of CJ's biggest attributes, and Si will talk about it under the pressure, about possession control. So it's how much you lose in, regain, and keep it. So CJ has a very good positive, normally, possession control. And he came on. And when you're 2-0 up, or you're nearly 2-0 up, you're winning the game, you want a player to maintain possession. You want a player to do Ginny. Ginny. So that's what. So rather than Mac, who's struggling physically, they just brought a player on who's not going to lose the ball. And CJ didn't. He just kept the ball. I mean, the only time he gave it away was when the ref mugged him off for that drop ball thing at the end, but they went up with a shot, didn't they? So, but generally speaking, I thought CJ was instrumental in calming things down for that last period of the game. It was a really good, after a couple of dodgy performances from him. I thought it was good to see him come back.
It's crazy, isn't it, that we have got so many good performances, and it is right, and it's good to call out CJ as well. It's good to call out, as we say, we mentioned Grav before, Szoboszlai, but Mo Salah is just a different level and shows why. It's a toss-up between him and Virgil van Dijk for Player of the Year. But this lad I want to speak about, Barts, we don't talk about goalkeepers too often, and it's been a slower integration, shall we say, for Alisson, that, I don't know, maybe he's been enjoying his barbecue a bit. It's just taken him a bit of time to get up to full speed, possibly. But in this one, the save from Semenyo one-on-one, and if anything, the nearly own goal from Connor Bradley, it just felt like elite Alisson was back. Did the stats show any element of that at all?
Yeah, so with a goalkeeper, one of the reasons we don't really do goalkeepers in terms of stats for transfers is there's not a lot out there, to be honest with you. It's really hard. But one of the key metrics we look at is post-shot. So as much as that for a forward is showing how much they put onto a chance, that's equally how much a keeper then saves it, right? So if it's a straight at you chance, then they're expected to save it post-shot. But if it's a really high post-shot, then they're equally, that's a really good save to put it off, right? So if we took that Semenyo one, so that's a 0.4 post-shot. So Semenyo actually made that chance worse. It was a 0.52 and he brought it down to 0.4. So that was saved. If you look at the chance at the near post, which is the one, yeah, it's the deflected one around, it's around here somewhere. But yeah, so it would have flicked in. So that would have been a really low chance because it's the angle and everything. But it went up to nearly a 0.3 post shot and Ali saves that. So Ali's saved, and then there's another couple, I think, where Ali pulls off some saves. But to again, if you look at the post shot that they're saved, that Ali is saving on these chances, they're incredibly high. If we look at, so their post shot is 0.78. So they decrease the chances, but he's saving those opportunities. And he saves 3 big chances, which is basically saying that he saves, I think Opta define it as 0.25 or 0.2. So for a keeper to save 3 big chances in a single game, plus making a few other key saves from a rebound and the rest of it, is really impressive. And I think, his distribution was back to being his best. Quirky stat I called out actually last night was Ali actually won another aerial. So it's the second time he's won a duel in back-to-back games at 100% rate. So that's where he's contesting for a throw-in. But yeah, I think Kevin's right in the chat that Ali has come back to be, this is his best in the world form. This is not, I'm just better than Kev, which is what he had been. This is now, I'm the world's best. So yeah, I thought he was remarkably good return. I mean, on the board, so a quick look at Ali. 79% pass rate, which is fine. A long ball, final third. No, he's not going to make any in there. But yeah, 32 passes attempted, so pretty good. Long balls, there you go, 19 passes. So yeah, it's a good, I would say, a very good performance from Ali. And we needed it, to be fair. Now he's the running. We need Ali to be in that form. Yeah. And not the form, should we say, against United or other games around that period of time.
It's true, isn't it? It just, maybe, and we shouldn't speak too quickly and touch wood as I'm saying this just felt like a game, as you mentioned, the biggest takeaway across the board. It's fair to say, isn't it, Bart? Elite players played elite football when we needed them to against a very, very good Bournemouth team. And if elite players, like we mentioned, keep playing this, we will win a lot of football games. That's fair to say, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. As I said, if everybody else gives you a 6 or a 7, but you're elite 3, which at the moment, for Ali, BBD, Mo, give you an 8 or even a 9 or a 10, you will win more games than you will lose. And that's why people talk about we've got 8% chance of winning the league, and that's because if those 3 do that, I do not see us, this is famous last words, touch wood, losing 3 games, which would be what it would be for us not to win the league. And that's sort of in a nutshell, really. BBD is back to being imperious. Ali's back now, returning back to that form. The last 2 games has been superb. And Mo's come out of his little rut, which he, by the way, still scored in a rut. But yeah, it's just one of them. So yeah, I think you're right. elite players, end of the day, make a difference. A couple of sensible Arsenal fans said to me that most of the difference maker. Literally, there's not a lot of difference between the sides in some elements, but when push comes to shove, we've got a guy who just ping one in from a 0.5 chance of winning and secure the game, and Arsenal have got that.
Yeah, it really just is the difference. And touch wood, fingers crossed, these elite players stay fit and keep doing it. But so much to like from Bournemouth. And I swear we say this every week on Stat Me Up, Barts. Maybe I'm just completely imagining this, but we seem to be playing Spurs every 5 minutes at the moment, realistically. It'll be 4 times this season, won't it? The only thing I like when we do this, and we're showing the table as ever, is we have to scroll seriously down to 14th if we look at the retail stats for Spurs. I mean, they won the last game and they got a clean sheet against Brentford. They made a signing of Danzo at centre-back. They score a lot of goals, Barts, 48. And Christ, they concede a lot of goals, 36. It might not be what they always want, but you can't ever pretend Tottenham are a dull team to watch if you get them on the Super Sunday or anything like that. And we talk about their threats. I mean, it's always the same players as well here, Barts. That Son, 13 goal contribution. He's sad for him, but maybe not the worst thing for us. And you've got the normal players like Kulusevski. I think we don't know if Maddison's fit, but there's goals, there's assists in this team. No two ways about it. They ship, they score, they do everything a little bit, Tottenham. I am intrigued kind of what the stats say from you. Is understat any different? Are the goals against? What does it all look like?
So as much as I'll start, a little bit unjust to look at it brief. So for shots conceded, which is, there we go, total shots. So that game they had against Brentford, which they won, by the way, they still conceded 20 shots.
Jesus.
Like 20 shots, right? Only 3 of them on target, fine. But 20 shots in a game which was seen as a bit of a turning point for them. You listen to some other podcasts, you see that they changed their tactics where slightly they weren't as attacking. They still took, they only took 13 shots, which is down from their usual, but that's a big chunk of, conceding wise. They created 0.8 in that game. And then they conceded, 2.1. So that's quite a large, do you know what I mean? So as much as they've got a clean sheet, they beat Brentford. It's not, I wouldn't say the underlying numbers have changed that much, before we get a bit worried. Tottenham, where are they? Oh, I'm just losing them here. Right in the middle of the screen, there we go. So on understat, they have scored in real life 48 goals. Understat have them supposed to be scoring 45, so they're about 3 over. So they're running a little bit hot. I think Solanke's out. Is he back or out? I think he's out. So they'll be running off. The Johnson, is it Johnson will be playing or what is it? Yeah, the rapid fella. So he'll play, which is a different threat, but we should hopefully touch wood be able to deal with that. In terms of conceding, so they're supposed to have conceded 42 and they've shipped 37. So they're running hot at that end as well, by about 5, nearly 6 goals. So, and this is league, so the League Cup will be probably skewed a bit more because they have rotated quite heavily. But so I wouldn't suggest. I mean, Tottenham are, in terms of points, they're understat have got them. They're over by 6 points. So understat saying they should have got 33 points and they've got 37. So it's this Tottenham side have issues. I think it would be intriguing to see how they approach this game. Like we said, it's almost their last chance for real success this season, because I don't see them climbing from 14th to a top 4 or even top. What's Europe going to come down to, about 7th or 8th this year? So that's quite a large points gap to make up. So that's 37 to 20. That's a 10-point swing they've got to find from somewhere. I personally don't see that happening. I know they've signed a centre half. They've also lost the centre half for a season, and Van der Ven, is he back? I'm not sure he's back for this game. So there's a bit of a this is still die for them, which could mean they could go ultra attacking, absolutely try and get the early goal if they can, and make it 2-0. But I personally think because it's because we got Plymouth at the weekend, we could technically play the first team again this game because it's a few days after the weekend, and then they'd still have a week off. They still have match day +4/+5 before we play a game on Everton in midweek. So you might see a fairly strong side like the Bournemouth team, bar maybe they might give Kev a run out, and Bradley probably plays at fullback. So if that team turns up, I'm not sure Tottenham will be able to cope with that. And particularly under the lights at Anfield, I think you're going, so you know what the team are like under the lights at Anfield. They normally turn it on. I think if we get the classic, get the goal, get the tie leveled up earlier on, then I think it could be a bit of a problem for Tottenham. It's a good point. The semi-final, they're trying to get the win, aren't they? Yeah, Tottenham will have to try and get the win. How they do that against us, I'm not sure. But football's a funny old game. I didn't think we were that bad to lose it in White Hart Lane in the first place. Not White Hart Lane, but you know, in the Tottenham Stadium. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what happens. They still concede a lot of shots. They still concede a lot of XG, and they can't play the new defender because he wouldn't have been signed in time, I don't think. So you're basically looking at a makeshift back four again. I think if we can match them physically, our quality should more than tell in this game, I would hope, if he picks the Bournemouth team. If it's a scratch side, then all bets are off.
Yeah, it does feel like more than anything, it will come down to team lineup. If it's a scratch side, like you say, good phrase, all bets are off. If it's the Bournemouth side, and if Mo Salah and Alisson and Grav and all those are anything like that, all the best Tottenham, because many will be praying for you by the end of it. But we shall see what Thursday night brings. And there we are, ladies and gents. Bournemouth, sometimes elite players just do elite things. Let's hope Spurs and their rather charitable defence this season offer the same chances and opportunities to do the same. We will see. All it leaves me to say as ever, for the man in the heat with the security guard, for his stats, for his analysis and all his bits, but it is much appreciated.
Anytime.
And ladies and gents, that was another Stat Me Up for Anfield Index.